Okay, I'm just gonna, I spelled great wrong. All right, I'm just gonna go over the event very briefly. Um, and if you have any questions, I'll spend most of the time answering questions if I can. And I'm gonna try to I'll show you what the App Lab looks like. Some of you probably already have had a chance to play around with it. Um, Basically, the H2O Hackathon, it's an app building competition and event. On the day of, teams will build a mobile app prototype that helps to address a local to address a local environmental dilemma. This is sponsored by the Water Board, so it's something to do with our waterways. The dilemma will be revealed on the day of the event, and teams consist of a maximum of 4 students and 1 coach. If you have less than 4 students, you are still welcome to compete. We might have individual students that sign up. And when we have individual students that sign up, you'll have the choice of taking on an extra student onto your teams if you don't have 4 group members already. So that can be an option. Um, so you will be required on the day of, by the end of the competition, you'll be required to submit a working app. That means something that you can actually that the judges could actually see and that has some sort of functionality using the App Lab, and I'll show you that in a minute if you haven't seen it before. Um, in the app prototype, if there is a certain functionality not available in App Lab, because everything's not available in App Lab, if there's something that's not available, you can simulate it. So, or you can just you can have the app demonstrate how a final version of your app would work. So it doesn't have to have everything completely working, because we know that there'll be some things that just you aren't able to do on the App Lab, like for instance, like APIs and things like that. You can do some, but certain things that you could do on a mobile app, you won't be able to do with App Lab. The judges include software developers, graphic designers, and members of the California Water Board. We're going to have the scoring rubric available the day of the event. I'll try to have that ready. We're still working on it, but I'll try to have it ready before the day of the event. But you will at least get it the day of the event. But your apps will be judged on creativity, relevance, functionality, and design. Okay. If I'm going too fast, let me know. Just shoot me a message or just speak up. And I'm going to post this whole Google Doc on the toolkit. So teams compete in one of 3 groups. We're going to have a middle school competition, a high school competition, and a post-secondary competition. Students have to be enrolled in school um, in the San Joaquin County. We've had inquiries from like Stanislaus and Sacramento County, but it's restricted to San Joaquin County. There will be 1 winning team in each group, so each group will have its own winning team, and the prizes will be the same for each winner. So we're using Code.org's App Lab. It uses block coding. You can learn the basics of coding in a matter of minutes, but there's a lot of things that you can do with App Lab, and there's a large community, and there's like a large community of teachers and educators who use App Lab. So there's a lot of great resources. I'm going to go over some of those right now. We have on the Hackathon website, we have the toolkit. And I'll show you that right now. Let me just move this down. So on the Hackathon website, you click the toolkit and it'll take you to this Hackathon Student Teacher Toolkit. And it has I curated the best lessons from Code.org that'll give you the most of the widest variety of skills on the App Lab. But you are free to kind of explore Code.org. You can just search around all their App Lab tutorials, and you can kind of pick and choose what you think your students would get the most value from. I'll show you what App Lab looks like for those of you who don't know already. Let me just go to the home page. And it basically looks like this. It has a design mode. You can basically design your app on the fly. See, I'm changing colors to the background. Not good. You can add buttons. You can add, there's all types of buttons you can add, drop down menus, and all these things can be coded here. I'm not going to go too much into this. We're going to have a training on March 4th where I'll sit down with whoever wants to come at the Fab Lab in San Joaquin County on March 4th from 5 to 7, and I'll send an email to all the coaches there. And it's available for coaches and students to get like hands-on training with the App Lab in case you didn't know how it works. But I'm just dropping things in here, and then you can code it with these blocks. It works kind of like Scratch. It's like Scratch on steroids. There's also, I wanted to let you know, a big YouTube, you just type in App Lab tutorial on YouTube, and there's a large App Lab community. And there's lots of different things you can learn just by going to YouTube and looking at the education community and their and all of their mini App Lab tutorials. So I'm going to just open it up to questions now, and just remember, I'll just type here that March 4th we're going to have an in-person training from 5 to 7 p.m. at the SJCOE Fab Lab. I'm going to open up to any questions. Does anyone have any questions or anything that? Yes.
Oh, yeah, I actually have a question. Are the teams required to use this App Lab, or are they allowed to use something else?
I think it's required. The App Lab is required. We picked one format that was easier, that was simple enough for a lot of people who didn't have a experience to jump on, but it still has enough complex functionality that you can experience it. But I will show you, if you are adept at coding, you can just use the it's basically JavaScript. So if you can write the code in App Lab like this. You don't have to use the block coding, but it is required. We wanted the same format for everyone.
Okay, thanks.
Yes. You have any more questions?
Can you hear me, Jeremy?
Yes, I can.
So one of the modules that you put on the toolkit was all about data. And as I was looking at that, it is a module that is designed, has sample data sets that you can download, and it gives tutorials. It's actually a really good resource that it provided on visually representing data and the do's and don'ts and things like that.
Right.
And I was just wanting some more insight as to why you chose to put that in there.
Okay.
And how it might kind of manifest itself during the hackathon.
Okay, so basically, there will be data that we will provide via like Google Sheets that you can use for your apps. And you can use it in any number of ways. But you will have access to certain tables and charts and things like that that we generate from the Waterboard that's based on this dilemma that you're going to be solving. So the data tools is just another thing in your tool belt that you could use to create some kind of solution or come up with some sort of I'm trying to say this without revealing the actual question, but but it will be of use if you're going to build a certain kind of app. Let's just put it that way. Everyone won't use the data, but some people will base their whole app around it. But when you see the tutorial with the spreadsheet with the Google Sheets, that's what we're going to be providing. So it's almost like a practice, like what do you call it? A dry run for what we're going to be doing, what we're going to have available for you. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. So, I mean, do you find in the past students are using the data to use as like background for the problem they're facing, or using the data to justify the design and the intention of the app? or is it more data that is used by the app itself?
Okay, so it could either be, I would see it as data that would be used by the app itself. And then the first thing you said was what again? I think that was and what was the first?
Well, like, you know, if students are presenting their app, then I imagine part of their presentation is about setting the stage for what the problem is, and thus providing a foundation for why the design and the function of the app is the way that it is. And of course, a good source of justification could be data.
Right. So the data you get can be used that way, or it can be used as part of the functionality of the app. Because we're going to the way the scenario will be set up is you will be given all of this information. You will be given the data, and we're going to set the stage for you about what the problem is, and then but you might want to set this, like you said, you might want to set the stage on how you approach this problem.
Okay.
And that's where the data will be useful. I hope this makes sense. I'm trying to say enough without revealing the actual, but
sure.
Yeah. So, and the dilemma is open enough to where there's a variety of different approaches. So data might not be the approach that some teams take, but it is useful. So I just don't want to say that it's completely 100% necessary, but it would be a good thing to know how to do.
Thank you.
All right. I hope I clarify. If that didn't give you enough clarification, you can email me and let me know, and I'll try to explain it more articulately.
Sure. No. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Okay. I'm still open for questions. So.
Can you go back to the slide? I just want to write down the criteria that you said kids will be judged on.
Do you want me to share this slideshow with you?
That'd be fantastic.
If you guys put your emails addresses in the, if you put them in the chat box, I will share this. Google slideshow with you. All right, awesome. I'm going to share this with all of you. All right, I got 3 emails. All right. So you guys should have this. And I'll send an invitation. If you don't have a Google account, I will go ahead and make this public.
Got it.
I'll just change to anyone with the link. And then I'll copy the link and put it in the chat here. Okay, so do we have any more questions or? Okay, so I'm always available by email. I think I'll put my email address in there in the chat. And if you want to call me up, I will put my personal cell phone number in there. That's the easiest way to get in contact with me at any time. And if any kind of question comes up, I will be happy to answer it for you.
Perfect.
And thank you guys all. Thank you for participating. John, I saw you guys have 2 teams coming from Lodi. We really appreciate it. It's going to be a fun event regardless of all the technicalities. And I do want to tell you one more thing. We're going to have 15 developers on site to help you guys if you get stuck with certain functionality on the App Lab. So it's going to be a well-supported event.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so if there's any more questions, I guess we'll go ahead and end this. You guys have the link to this presentation. I'm gonna put this presentation on the classroom, on the toolkit tomorrow. And like I said, I'm always open for questions or help.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Jeremy.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Brett, you still there?
I am. I just stopped the recording. It's going to convert it to an MP3, and then it'll be accessible that I can, I don't know if I can send you that file, or if you need it.